Okay, welcome again to another I.O.U. workshop interview. Today I'm here with Becky. So Becky, can you tell me what is it you actually do?
So I'm a paper artist. I work under the name Timid Elk. I work with different papers really. I try and use recycled, so I use a lot of old train tickets, I use a lot of ordnance survey maps, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm doing a little bit of bookbinding with you today, which is also another thing that I do.
Is there a specific papers that are easy or hard to work with? Or is it recycled paper a lot better, or is it more environmentally friendly? Or
It's not really easier or more difficult. I just like the idea of using something that people would otherwise throw away, and I can kind of transform it into something that they'd, want to take into the house and they cherish. So I make a lot of lamps out of train tickets, and obviously you just chuck your train ticket away, but then people kind of love these lamps and they put them in a special place in the house, and I just think it's really nice.
So is it something you can actually use that you'd normally every day throw away that you can certainly, it kind of suddenly brings me back to something like the Wombles, where they used to find everything they would find and actually make something with it.
Yeah.
So good with it. Brings me on to my next question. What is it that makes you want to do this? What led you to this particular practice?
I don't know really. It's difficult to kind of put my finger on it.
How did it kind of start?
So when I was at university, I specialised in ceramics, and before you'd make like a ceramic piece, you'd test it out in paper first in a maquette. But these were always like really insignificant. Nobody wanted to see your maquette. You just kind of made it and threw it away. And then when I left university,
can you just ask you, what is maquette?
So it's just like a paper test piece.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So when I left university and started working in my own studio, I kind of revisited making maquettes and, adding a bit more importance to them and having them as a finished piece. And I've kind of just rolled with it, really.
Right, so basically it's something that formulated from an interest at university and just suddenly went in a completely different direction than what you were going for.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely kind of snowballed. I just started out with it. It was kind of my first place to start, I guess, and it's just never ended.
What themes do you pursue?
So repetition is my big theme at the minute, because I just love the idea that you can take one small element and repeat it and build it up, and it becomes something bigger than itself, something better. So I have a range of installation pieces that I do. And that's where you can kind of really see the repetition. So these are kind of like huge, floor to ceiling installations. And then I kind of use the same techniques in my smaller homeware pieces, and it just makes the artwork a little bit more accessible.
Right, so I mean basically when you're using repetition, you it's like generating new ideas from something that is the way are we talking about the way you do something, and then it aspires to something even bigger than what it originally started with? Is that what we're talking about, the repetition?
So it's more literal, like I'll make a triangle and then I'll make 6,000 triangles, and I'll join them together and I'll see what happens.
So basically you are formulating something that is in a repetition process.
Yeah.
To create something that is sort of not so repetition, but because it has elements of repetition in it, it creates a more formulated, bigger piece. As we will.
Yeah, definitely.
that's something that is really interesting. It's absolutely fantastic. What memorable responses have you had to your work?
I think people find it really easy to connect with it because I do use rail tickets. They'll see, a place where they've been, or with the maps, they'll see a place where they've lived or been on holiday. And people kind of really get a kick from it. But I was once doing a lampshade making workshop, and a woman said, "God, this is so boring, isn't it?" Just because it was really like repetitious. And I was just like, well, That's the way it is, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's just it. When you find that people join these kind of workshops, some people probably would find them really, really boring. Some people would see the finished project as something a little bit more than what it is.
Yeah.
So what's your Making It workshop today? What are you going to be focusing on today?
So today we are going to be looking at the Pamphlet stitch bookbind. It's a really easy kind of stitch to do. You find it in like a lot of, like zines. They kind of use it because it's nice and quick.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a 3-hole version and a 5-hole version, which is a little bit more complicated. And then we're going to be using some old Ordnance Survey maps to decorate the covers with.
That's interesting. It's rather interesting because I.O.U have been doing rear view lately, which sort of focuses on the area to which the book is actually in. And again, there's that recognition of what you're using and the art pieces which they're using, which happens to be poetry, but also the places that a formulated people can recognise and sort of, affiliate with. So there's a lot of similarities between your work and a lot of people who come here to I.O.U as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hopefully it's going to be a really interesting. What would be your dream project?
I'd love to do a massive installation somewhere. There's something just huge that would take me years to complete. But yeah, it's hard enough doing little ones. So
it's not really easy. It's like coming up with the idea about. I mean, I know with a lot of artists, it comes down to the idea. So suddenly comes to them doing something, and suddenly thinking, I wouldn't mind doing that, something really massive and ginormous, like the Eiffel Tower, which would be absolutely rather astonishing. Do you have a mentor or a person you go to when you kind of, when you're going through workshops, are you designing workshops, or is there anyone you go to specifically, or is there anyone who sort of you can go to that can give you some creative ideas, or can give you something if you're stuck in any kind of sort of way?
There's quite a few people. I've built up a really good network of colleagues and friends over the years, and we all kind of do the same sort of thing. So we're all out there delivering workshops to different groups. So it's always really nice to kind of bounce back ideas off them and moan to them if you've had a really bad session. So yeah, it's just kind of that kind of network, that group. I guess they're like my mentors.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Don't bury your head in the sand. My science teacher at school told me that, and it's something that's like always stayed with me. So when I was setting up my business, I embraced it and called myself Timid Elk. So everybody used to say that I was like really timid and shy. No, I'll show them I was timid. So that's where we get Timid Elk from.
Right. So yeah, I mean, burying your head in the sand. Obviously, I've been said that loads of times by tutors and teachers and everybody else. And yeah, I mean, I think really when you're going off to do a workshop like this, I mean, I do see a lot of people who are doing a lot of workshops, not just your workshop, but all other workshop artists, and I think to myself, how brave they really are. I mean, obviously something I will eventually want to do, but yeah, I think it sounds like absolutely brilliant advice. Final question. Why should artists get involved in the making it sessions here, like, for example, with yours?
It's just a really good opportunity to show people a different craft and let them learn a new skill. For me personally, this is like my introduction to bookbinding, so hopefully it'll inspire some people to kind of take it further, once they've got like the basic principles. But yeah, it's just great to kind of share your skills.
Yeah, in the Make It environment. As I was saying earlier on, I just sort of watched it on YouTube and I was really fascinated by it. I thought, wow, this is really something like. It's useful, it's practical, it's artistic, and it looks really fun to do. So And hopefully you're going to have a very good session tonight. I shall leave it there, Becca, and I shall let you get ready and get prepared for people who are coming. Thank you very much for
thank
the
you.
interview.
Cheers.
Thank you.